When it comes to lifts, finding out if you've chosen the right one means you're going to have to drive it for a while and off-road with it. We've done just that with our 3 rigs. Are we happy with our lift choices? If we aren't, what would we change about our various lifts? Thankfully, a comment was made asking for a 3-month review, and we are grateful for that comment. Thank you so much for it. And that has generated this short video to give you all a 3-month review of the various lifts we have chosen and how happy are we with them.
This is my 2021 Wrangler diesel rib gun. I put the Clayton Ride Right 2.5-inch lift kit specifically for the diesel on this. It's their entry model lift kit. It's got a 3.5-inch lift spring on the front to accommodate the extra weight of the diesel, and it does ride perfectly fine.
Put a 2.5-inch Metalcloak game changer lift on this one just before Easter Jeep Safari. That would be back in April. This is now June. About 3 months and about 3,000 miles, as it turns out, on it since the lift, including 2 or 3 round trips from Denver to Grand Junction, out to Moab. A lot of miles. I did put Fox shocks on it, which are not part of the Metalcloak kit. And I opted for a shock that is a little bit longer than what is typically recommended. I actually looked at it from the perspective of what was the length of the shock that Metalcloak was suggesting, and made sure I got a Fox shock that had a extended length that was about the same. So these are actually from a 3.5 or a 4.5-inch lift with the 2.5-inch Metalcloak kit.
Penny got a Iron Rock Offroad long arm that's actually an LJ lift, not a TJ. And it's a Pro Rock, if I remember correct. Pro Rock, Pro Link.
Pro Link, I think, yeah.
So the other suspension is change that we made is the coilovers in the back, the Fox 2.0s from AccuTune. And then the Metalcloak dual rate springs and the Fox 2.0 shocks in the front.
After driving it on the road, driving out to Moab and back, towing my pop-up camper and driving all over, I mean, it rides a little bit like a lifted Jeep. You know, it's not quite like stock, but it's actually rides really well, and I'm really happy with it.
I mean, this turned in a 900 on the Metalcloak trailer. It flexes really nice. I'm more impressed with, for as big as it is, with the 37-inch tires, how well it actually rides. I'm still pulling 23 miles per gallon with the diesel pretty reliably in what I think of as a sort of full daily driver sort of mode. That freeway between Grand Junction and Moab is 80 miles an hour, and zipping down that at 80 miles an hour, the Jeep is stable. And I mean, something like this, you have a tendency to expect it to get squirrely, to get to be a handful. This one, it rides nice, it handles nice, it flexes nice.
So we just wanted to add, one of the trips out to Grand Junction was to pick up the new tow rig. Kenneth and I drove out there in blue. He drove the new truck back, and I got to drive this back. And so, you know, it's right after I had been driving mine long distance on the highway, and I got to put good 400 or 500 miles on this, driving this to compare it. And I want to say that this one rides just a little bit better. I don't know that I would say it's dramatically different. They ride about the same, but I think the Metalcloak was just a slight bit more comfortable.
So the things I like about this lift is the articulation is outstanding. Just watching it go from from a an 800 score to almost 1,000 on the Metalcloak trailer and getting some 1,100 scores on an RTI ramp. That was fantastic. Do I notice a difference on daily driving? Not, I think, from the long arm. It might be a tad bit squirrely, but I'm going to give more credit to that, to the 40s, and to the incredible design of the steering that Kenneth and Roy managed to do.
What I would change about it, I'm probably at some point going to get the rest of the control arms that go with the upper model Clayton kits, just to give a little better articulation. When we went to EJS, I scored the lowest out of all three of us, and I'm gonna try to up my score a little bit on the CTI trailer. I also didn't upgrade any of the steering. We are going to have an upcoming video where I'm going to be adding a whole bunch of upgrades to the front axle, including the steering, to go along with that. But yeah, just overall, it's been great. It's a good budget lift. Gets you the 2.5 inches you need, and rides fine down the road.
Honestly, very little that I would say at this point I want to change with the suspension. Now, I did the full suspension kit, I did the full steering kit, I mean all of that up front, but it's working real well. It's comfy, and very happy with the stance. I have no complaints with my suspension setup.
What would I change about this lift? Nothing. I am so happy that they managed to keep Penny at almost precisely the same height before all of this happened. I don't think the suspension in any of this is what causes it to be road squirrely or not be able to really get faster than 65 miles per hour. I think there's a ton of other things that cause that. What I would maybe change is maybe going to coilovers in the front, but that is such a minuscule need for the way I wheel that I don't really think it's needed. She's got decent road manners as long as you accept that these are domed tires, and she doesn't have enough weight to flatten them out. I mean, I'm running these at 25 PSI because if I run them any higher, she is squirrely as heck. But that has nothing to do with the suspension. So, would I recommend this lift? Absolutely. Would I do it again? Yes, I would.